Hey guys, it's Samantha from Black Nation News, and today I want to talk to you about our brother Nipsey Hussle. Wow, there is so much to flesh out here. Like, there's so much to get through. So, I have been on social media going back and forth with people on my friends list who believe that this was just a jealousy thing and Nipsey Hussle was killed by black on black crime. And Yeah, so I also was very offended when I saw a video with Dynasty Mir. He was calling I think he loves the word dusty, but he was calling black people who believe there's more to this story as far as Nipsey Hussle's assassination, which is basically what it was. Um, and I just wanted to say, we don't need to do the name calling. Just because you don't agree with somebody, you don't need to call them names because you be cooning your damn self. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I love Dynasty Mir's channel. I don't agree with everything he says, but I was offended. He's one of the more outspoken people I've seen who just was kind of negative about the people who don't believe what LAPD told us. Okay, so let me get down to the nitty gritty. So I was watching some videos, and hopefully my camera, my computer will let me pull this up because I've been having like some technical issues here. And unlike a lot of people in Black America who call themselves conscious, whatever, like I actually live this life. I live, breathe, eat, sleep Black liberation. I literally think about this every single day. I don't know how Black people are comfortable in this world that we're in. At all. Like I'm like outraged. Like I'm pissed. I fight against white supremacy on a daily basis. Like I'm always fighting against it. And if they tell me anything, white people, if they tell me anything, I will automatically believe the opposite. I will believe that there's more to the story and that I need to do my own research. Any Black American should be having that mentality if they're considering themselves woke. What woke means to me is that you are seeing with the third eye and you can see deeper, like you have a higher level of consciousness. You can feel, you have those vibrations, you can see deeper than the average person. It's to me, if you can't do that, you're not woke. You're not conscious. You're just another Black person who probably knows that there's racism, knows there's white supremacy, but you haven't reached that higher level yet. So, and it's not that I'm trying to like be mean to anybody. I love my Black people. Anyone who knows me knows that. I just feel like there's a lot of people who don't quite understand like what's really going on here, and they're probably going to have to reach more into their inner self to figure out how to think on a higher level than the average person. So I had a video here that was saying, why did LAPD constantly raid Nipsey Hussle's store? And these Black women were really hitting the nail on the head and saying that they do believe there is a deeper conspiracy going on here behind the scenes. The whole story didn't sound right to me. When I first heard the story that Nipsey Hussle was murdered, I literally, like, my mind literally went back to Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. I don't know why. Things like see and understand certain things in a certain way. I don't want to say I'm psychic, but my mind, my subconscious, like things like come together in this like very distinct, like this distinct way. And I actually do want to start studying more voodoo and understanding more about higher level consciousness. And I used to meditate even when I was a kid. So I've always had like this innate curiosity about just having more control of your subconscious or understanding your subconscious more. So these four Black women on this video, they really hit the nail on the head. I don't want to play it right now because I don't want it to be talking over me at this point. But there was another video, like I wanted to point that one out. So I've seen a few different videos that I want you guys to pay attention, that I want you guys to check out for yourselves. So we have Nipsey Hussle gets his brother from jail and teams up with G-Eazy to give back to kids. Why did LAPD constantly raid Nipsey Hussle's store? let me see. Let me go down. This is just my history of like some of the videos I've been watching. Of course, you can see who I watch. I watched Runoko Rashidi on the Rock Newman show. I wanted to learn more about him. This is the video that to me was very revealing. The Nipsey Hussle conspiracy assassinated for Dr. Sebi documentary. Government kills Black leader in LA. I honestly do think that the Dr. Sebi documentary was probably the last straw for the LAPD. This is a video you have to watch. If you've ever heard of COINTELPRO and actually read the papers and stories about Martin Luther King Jr., Fred Hampton, Malcolm X, J. Edgar Hoover, who was a complete coon. He was actually Black, passing as a white guy. And once I actually watched a video and studied just who he was as a kid and growing up in his life story, you can actually look at his pictures and tell that he is a Black man. And it seems as though he was someone who really struggled with his identity his entire life. So from him not wanting to be Black, he had that self-hatred of from that end. And then he also was gay. A lot of people allegedly believe that he was gay. So he had like two different real issues that made him struggle with who he was as a man. And when you have that internal identity crisis, you will lash out and do things that, it's kind of like your way of acting out, like as if you were a toddler and having a temper tantrum. So I do believe that he wanted to almost prove to white people how much he hated Black people because he was Black and he was passing and he wasn't really, a white person. So it's like he felt like he had to go over and beyond to show like, hey, I'm with you guys, I'm not with those Negroes over there. So yeah. So, wow. So anyway, so if you look at this video, I'm going to play a little bit of it. There were just so many things in this video that was amazing to me. Let me see here. And I want to say this is fair use. I'm just showing this video just for educational purposes. So I had to go ahead and throw that disclaimer out there.
And just putting themselves out there, because just if any of this is true, like, should we fear for Nipsey's safety?
I was just about to say that, but I didn't want to look negative.
Nah, like, I'm just saying, like,
about to say that, but I didn't want to look negative.
Nah, like, I'm just saying, like,
weren't we already? I was.
I keep it a buck. I think we about to enter a whole new generation of that shit.
But are we watching? I don't even try with
Real
Nipsey.
shit.
We on TI.
And
yeah, that's
He
exactly
mysteriously gets a cold. We watching y'all.
Now, the media want to clown people, but you must understand. So people were justifiably worried that something could happen to Nipsey, and now people are justifiably questioning whether the government could be involved. The feds killed Nipsey. He was filming a documentary about SEBI. He had that store for 2 years. Nah, this got the government written all over it.
He does.
He was going to expose them, so they got him first. Open your eyes. Don't let them convince y'all a gang did this, because they didn't.
Let me do a quick pause.
Left eye from TL.
Quick pause. Okay, so you saw that he said, "Don't let them believe a gang did this," because they didn't. And then I saw a story just the other day. Okay, let me see here. Eric Holder, attorney. Is it the attorney? So right here I saw in Washington Post, who said that Eric Holder is being represented by the attorney Christopher Darden, who also defended O.J. Simpson. So for all those people who are saying, oh, you guys are crazy, this was just jealousy and Black on Black crime, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This was the government. This has COINTELPRO written all freaking over it, because how in the hell does Eric Holder afford the attorney that represented O.J. Simpson? This is supposed to be a regular gang banging, dusty ass informant. How does he have the money to hire Christopher Darden, who also represented O.J. Simpson? So I'm sorry, guys. I really don't need this to play. So I don't need to watch this. But yeah, I just want you guys to see that. Let me see if I can find out. 1 second. Let me show y'all my receipts because I don't play around. Like, I have receipts. Okay, so we have OJ Simpson lawyer. Look, it already came up. Then you'll go here. They're trying to play games here. Like, it's like, get your stuff right. Okay, so here it is with Washington Post. So they said, and I hope this thing shows because sometimes you have to pay a subscription, which I'm not going to pay white people shit. It said he made O.J. Simpson try on the gloves. Now he's defending Nipsey Hussle's alleged killer. How did he get the money for that? And y'all trying to still tell us that this dusty Negro was just some regular ass dude on the street with a getaway car who knew to have his gun and walk up. You had the audacity and the boldness to walk up on a Grammy nominated celebrity Black man who was a Crip, or probably still was a Crip, but not Crips and Bloods have changed who they are. They're not just like gang banging like that. So I can show you more receipts on that in a minute. But you had the audacity to do that in broad daylight. And you're telling me that there was no intel, nothing behind this. How did they know he was even going to be at that store at that time? How did Eric Holder know he wasn't going to be strapped? Because from what I heard, and I believe even read, this asshole went back and forth to his car. And then he came back, he shot Nipsey Hussle, he came back again, shot him some more, then kicked him, just doing the most. Like, no, absolutely not. I have never heard a gang member, gang banging thug dude doing all that. Usually they just drive by shooting you, and it's usually at night. They're doing it in the cloak of darkness. They are not in broad daylight with a million cameras around. The only reason why he would be feeling comfortable enough to do that in broad daylight, to kill Nipsey Hussle, who's not just some regular ass dude, is because he knew his ass was going to be protected and he was not going to be going to jail. So I'm sorry, like, white people are ignorant. I used to work around white people for decades, and I was in the military. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, my background is IT, information technology. I have 3 degrees. I have an MBA and I have a bachelor's of science degree in information technology. I'm a very intelligent Black woman, and I used to work around white people who did not have half the credentials I had, and they were holding higher positions, sitting in offices while I was sitting in the cubicle, and they were constantly asking, other people questions to learn to know how to do their jobs. They were just idiots. They were idiots, and it was a good old boy club that was keeping them in a job to begin with, and with money in their pocket. Majority of them did not have any clue what they were doing. They were just sitting in these positions. So white people are not that smart. They want you to think they're smart. They're not that smart. They're devious as all get out. They're very hateful, very barbaric and savage. So that's what they have on Black people, because Black people are more humane. We're more into humanity. We would not even think to go to the level of just savagery that they would go to. I'm like, real talk. Like, I know y'all think, oh, Black people hate Black. Nah, it's not. It's not like all like that. So let me show you some more proof that the gang violence in LA is down when it comes to Crips and Bloods and Black people. Let's see. I forgot the name of the article that released this, but I'll find it. Give me a minute. 1 second. Latino gang violence. I didn't even need to put in a Latino. I want to put in like LA, but I'm going to put Latino so I can find it faster, because 1 second. Yeah, I'm not playing games with people. People can play games all day, but I'm not playing games with people. And I do think that more of us need to speak out, get your channels, speak out on things that matter for Black people, because we got too many coons. We got too many racist people. We got too much against us for us to not be loud and proud with it. Oh my goodness. So this is a guide to the creation, rise, and rule of Latino gangs in the U.S. And this story, let me make this bigger so we can really see the letters. All right. So the murder of let me see right here. The murder of a Latino gang member reported this past May in Vice serves. Let me see when this was written and make sure. It was written September 2015. So this was written. They said the murder of a Latino gang member reported in this past May in Vice serves as the backdrop to the widespread attention currently being pushed on California's record dryness and its struggling agriculture production, much of which is found in the Central Valley. Despite gang-related crime in Los Angeles dropping, the same can't always be said for smaller towns. Despite gang-related crime in Los Angeles dropping, the same can't always be said for smaller towns. At the heart of most of the crime are Latino gangs, driven out of Los Angeles by several factors. Drowsy little towns like Modesto aren't so sleepy and safe anymore. So basically, because of gentrification, these gangs cannot afford to live in LA anymore. So they're being pushed out to like further out, into the smaller towns that are, I guess, cheaper to live. The small towns, Modesto is home to approximately 200,000 people. Cities and farms that lie across the valley provide a sizable percentage of the nation's fruits and vegetables. But in some of the regions, minority communities, young Latinos suffer from hopelessness, extreme enough to drive them to join a legal organization run by men living in penitentiaries hundreds of miles away. 3 Latino gangs that consistently appear in law enforcement's crosshairs are MS-13, and I'm going to chop this up, Sinaloa Cartel, Sureños, X3, and the Mexican Mafia. They said the 3 Latino gangs, they named 4. So you got the MS-13, Sinaloa Cartel, and I know about MS-13 because, like they said right here, in America, the MS-13 has an unusually massive membership in Los Angeles County, in the San Francisco Bay Area, Northern California, and Washington, D.C. A heavy presence of MS-13 is also found in Maryland, New York, Massachusetts, and North Carolina. MS-13 had actually moved into Loudoun County, which is one of the richest counties in Northern Virginia, which is where I'm from. I grew up in Manassas. And to have a gang in that county is like the craziest thing to me. So this just shows like how they're just spreading around. They were also had moved into Fairfax, where I just moved from. I now live in Baltimore. So we have let me see if I can cut through the chase because I have so much stuff to show y'all. The Mexican Mafia is a highly organized Mexican crime, blah, blah, blah. They're just kind of going down all these different gangs. So they say gang-related murders in LA have dropped over 66%, and gang-related crimes have dropped 55%. What's behind the decline? The only answer on which everyone agrees is there's no single answer. There are several theories. God forbid you have a theory. That's what scientists have, a hypothesis before they can prove it. That's what thinkers do. They have a theory first. They don't just, follow like lame sheep to whatever people tell them to think. Some of us actually critically think for, a living. If the theories, I was actually a systems analyst. So I actually was paid to think, to be a thinker and analyze things. If the theories are considered and how they build on each other, and also I'm sorry to interrupt my own self, but I was also in college. So I research a lot. Like we did a lot of research papers. I'm a researcher. So I dig. I like to get to the bottom of things. So if the theories are considered and how they build on each other, it can be easy to see why Los Angeles is safer than it's been since Eisenhower was in the White House. So you guys can go ahead and read the rest of this on your own. One thing I could tell you is this RICO law, that getaway driver that drove Eric Holder away, she should still be in jail. They could do that if they wanted to, just under the RICO law alone. They claimed that she said she didn't know what he was doing. That's a bold-faced lie. How did you not hear all those gunshots? How did you not notice him walking back and forth from your car? How did you not notice him getting a gun? How did you not notice him having no blood on him? Because there's going to be blowback. I watch a lot of IDTV. There's going to be a lot of blowback or blood splatter from him shooting 3 individuals at point blank range, right in front of them. He walked up to them. He just sitting behind a car and drive by and just shooting from afar. He walked up to him and assassinated him. 6 gunshots. When I heard that, I already knew that was all kinds of wrong, because most gang shootings that I hear about, or thugs, doing their drive-bys, they can't shoot for shit. So they're usually hitting little babies, dogs, houses, cars, everything under the sun but their actual target. So I knew something was off just off top, just off hearing that Nipsey had been hit 6 times by any one person that's, considering themselves a thug. I was like, no, he absolutely either had training or something's behind this that allowed him to just walk up to Nipsey and do what he did. So the getaway driver, she definitely was in on it. She definitely knew what was going on. And she could still be in jail just under RICO laws alone. They do have laws that allow them to sweepingly grab all kinds of people and put them in jail. So the fact that they let her go the same day that she came in and confessed, that says a lot right there. She was in on it. The government's behind it. The feds, the cops are behind it. And that's why her ass is free right now. Because damn well, any other black woman would be in jail just for being black, just for looking at somebody funny. You have Sandra Bland, who was murdered in her jail cell. She was in jail for what? Talking to a cop who pulled her over on some dumb shit and just provoked her, and now she's in jail. But you're telling me a getaway driver who helped a murderer get away from killing a very high-profile black individual celebrity, you're telling me that she can just walk and go free? She can tell the cops, I didn't know what was going on, and that's going to fly. Not in today's world unless America with 3 Ks was behind it. So let's go on to the next thing I want to talk about, the rise of the Black Messiah. For all y'all who are living in Never Never Land and don't know shit about what's going on around you, I have receipts. Because this is pissing me off. Like, I literally never actually get on videos. So this is, for me to be making a video with me on the video, I'm pissed. If they don't, let me not say what I want to say. Jeez Louise. Okay, so this is the very first video. Thank you for once. Okay, let's look here. So we have the preventing the rise of a Messiah, by The Guardian. So this is the U.S. government efforts to discredit Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders illustrate the lengths to which it will go to stifle left-wing movements. I'm not really sure if it has anything to do with left-wing. It's the stifling they'll go to stop black people from rising. 40 years ago today, a bullet severed the spine of a man whom many in the world over thought of as a prince. We have all seen the picture of the hotel balcony where that prince stood and felt surrounded by his entourage, all pointing presumably in the direction from which the bullet came, all but one. One man was not standing, not pointing, but kneeling by Martin Luther King's body, presumably checking to see if or that he was dead. That man, Merrill McCullough, was an undercover police officer who had infiltrated King's circle. According to Time magazine, he worked for the Central Intelligence Agency at least as far back as 1974. What interest could an intelligence agency have in a man who plainly believed only in peace? In August 1967, that's what we all want to wonder, because Nipsey Hussle was not a murdering thug gangbanger. So why is he dead? Let's find out. In August 1967, 4 months after King called the U.S. government the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, 3 months after 30 members of the Black Panther Party marched armed into the California state capitol and onto the front pages of newspapers worldwide, J. Edgar Hoover, this idiot, this dude, he did so much damage to the black community, from the Black Panthers to Martin Luther King Jr. to Malcolm X. I mean, he was horrible, just horrible. The head of America's domestic law enforcement agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, issued the following directive. The purpose of this new counterintelligence endeavor is to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of black nationalist, hate-type organizations and groupings, their leadership, spokesmen, membership, and supporters. So let's go here. And y'all can read that on your own. I'll go deeper. I'll create deeper videos on these topics that I'm talking about. But for this purpose, I'm putting all this together to talk about Nipsey Hussle and what happened to him, because I know it was a conspiracy and many others believe the same. And I'm going to tell you guys why it's important that we understand this. So let me see. 1 second. So I don't know if you guys ever heard of the BIE, which is a term that was created by the FBI. And it was created, hopefully it'll let me read this article without paying for a subscription because I'm not subscribing. So this term was created to basically neutralize, discredit. What were the terms they used for the Black Panthers and any Black movement that is trying to uplift their Black community, even as being peaceful? The purpose of this new counterintelligence endeavor is to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of Black nationalists, hate-type organizations and groupings, their leadership, spokesmen, membership, and supporters. Of course, you're going to hate you. You're white, and you've been oppressing us for like 500-600 years. That's only natural. If you stop doing the stuff you're doing, we wouldn't hate you. So that's on you to change. Don't be trying to like neutralize us from doing normal things. Neutralize yourself from doing hateful things, and then we won't hate you, probably. So we have the FBI's BIE, Black Identity Extremists, for y'all who ain't never heard of nothing, I guess, or just living in your little la-la land or partying too much and not paying attention. So when you look at this, I see scholars, probably preachers. I think that's a minister in the front. This has to be in DC. I was in Ferguson because I look familiar. Who's this? Rob New? Is this the Newman brother? And they just look peaceful. I don't see any guns or anything. It says clergy members leading a protest. So these people are clergy. They're what do you call it? Religious leaders. So an FBI report leaked in October and so it probably was not for us to be looking at, and scrutinized during an oversight hearing of the House Judiciary Committee on Tuesday, warns of an emergent domestic terror threat sweeping the nation and threatening the lives of law enforcement officers. Okay. The Black Identity Extremist, BIE movement, this designation just recently invented by the FBI is as frightening and dangerous as the Bureau's infamous, wow, they put the two together without me even having to do that. This designation, just recently invented by the FBI, is as frightening and dangerous as the Bureau's infamous COINTELPRO, which means counterintelligence program of the 1960s and 70s, under which J. Edgar Hoover set out to disrupt and destroy virtually any group with the word Black in its name. Today, entirely nonviolent Black activists face violations of their civil liberties and even violence if they're deemed part of BIE. So basically, in short, if you are proud to be Black and you're fighting for Black liberation, because they are oppressing us, we have so many statistics and reports that will confirm that. And you cannot oppress a bunch of people and just expect them to just sit there and take it. Like, you're going to fight to live. You're going to fight to be released from that oppression. Then obviously you're going to, they're basically getting mad at us for getting mad at them for them doing dumb shit to us. How does that make any sense? That's how ignorant they are. That's how stupid they are. Like, no, you're going to get your boot off my neck by any means necessary, because I'm going to live. And if I don't live, I'm going to raise my children to live. I'm going to teach others to live, to carry on my name. And this is why it's so important that more of us create videos, create channels, become influencers, get our words out there, because they can't kill all of us. And if you're going to really fight for the freedoms of Black people, you're going to have to be prepared to die, because it will probably happen. You have Nipsey Hussle, you have Martin Luther King, you have Malcolm X, you have Tupac, you have all these, there's a lot of activists that are coming up dead who were in Ferguson, I believe, who were fighting. They were Black Lives Matter activists. You have Prince, Michael Jackson. All these deaths are suspicious as fuck. And you have Dr. SEBI. You got so many people who are dying. And the thing that pisses me off the most is these people are dying to try to make your life better, to try to push you forward. Just like our ancestors who were slaves did the same thing. They fought to be free. They fought to vote, to give you the right to vote, to make life better for the next generation. And then y'all want to sit here and be lazy and fucking ignorant and just act like you got these blinders on. No, you're going to have to wake the fuck up. We're going to need you to wake the fuck up. And if you don't want to wake up, you need to go put some white skin on your ass and go be with the white people. Because when you are in the Black race, being a goofball and not really looking at things for what they really are and helping to really fight for Black liberation for everybody, not just women, not just men, not just gays, not just whatever agenda you got for yourself. If you're not fighting for every Black person, you are an enemy, period. You're an enemy, and you have the ability to become an Eric Holder. Eric Holder is a bought and paid for slave, just like Jemele Hill. And the reason I'm pissed at her is because she wrote this article this morning that I saw. Let me pull this up real quick. With her cooning ass. She has purposely gone against the ADOS movement and said some really trifling things about that, which I'll tell y'all about that later. And they said Jemele Hill on leaving ESPN and joining the Atlantic. So this bitch basically went from one white slave, white plantation to another white plantation. And she got to write stories to earn her keep against Black people. She has to write stories against Black folks to earn earn that paycheck. So she's a bought and paid for slave. So let me put up Nipsey Hussle. And I'm just fucking tired of it. I cannot sit back and not say anything else. So let me see here. Oh, they're talking about Jemele Hill apologized for anti-Trump tweet recalling Malcolm X, blah, blah. Whatever. She's a sellout. Okay, so we have Jemele Hill, Nipsey Hussle, life. Ugh. I hate that my results don't bring stuff right up. So I'm going to have to kind of have these things already open, I guess. But I really just talk off the top, so I don't really know what I'm going to be talking about. So it's kind of hard for me to have my articles, but I know how I'm putting everything together. So it says, it hurts to see Nipsey Hussle's life not mattering. And at first when I clicked on this, I'm thinking they're going to be talking about how this probably is going to be talking about how the mainstream media is not talking about Nipsey Hussle at all. Let's keep it 100. If this was a white girl missing, or if this was some rock star who was murdered on the streets, every national mainstream news outlet would be blasting it in our faces for every second that they can that we don't give a fuck to see. They'll be showing it to us. That's why I can't watch mainstream media, because I don't care. I don't want to hear what y'all got to say. You got your agenda and you're trying to brainwash people, and some people it's working, but turn that TV off, watch more YouTube, because some of y'all just brainwash. Y'all can't decipher between what's real and what ain't anymore. So after celebrated rapper is murdered, some admirers turn to wild theories because the reality is too hard to face. What's the reality, Jemele Sellout Hill? Let's see what she's going to talk about. I didn't know Nipsey Hussle, but I knew Nipsey Hussle. Hussle's murder in his Los Angeles neighborhood last Sunday was a heartbreaking conclusion to an unfortunately common story. Another talented young Black man was senselessly killed, police say, by another Black man, leaving behind mourning families and communities that had become accustomed to absorbing such standard trauma. It hurts to see this version of a Black life not mattering. But part of making any kind of sense of Hussle's death means keeping it real about the ruthless violence plaguing far too many African-American communities, including the neighborhood Hussle was committed to transforming and saving. So this just conveniently worked out for all the sellouts, all the white supremacists, because he got killed in his neighborhood. They did that on purpose so they can easily I literally barely knew he died before I saw an article talking about it was gang related. The killer was Black. And we have no video footage. No videos have been released, but they already putting that out there. And then this next thing that was a hot mess was, how is Eric Holder running around for 2 days and you're not alerting the public that this gun-toting psycho who's bold enough to go kill a well-known Black man who's just in front of his store trying to buy stuff for his friend who just got out of jail and help him get himself on his feet. Why are you not telling the public that Eric Holder is running around with a fucking gun, which he wasn't supposed to have because he's a felon? So why aren't you alerting the public? Because what about their safety? You see how we can easily poke holes in these stories. And y'all can sit here. The thing with Black people is they don't feel powerful. They have low self-esteem. And those are the main two things for me. So you think you can't do anything about it, but you can. You do have power. Your voice is your power. Your vote is your power. Your money is your power. Your unity is your power. And you're just choosing every day just not to do it. Our ancestors went through so much more hell, and they persevered, and they fought against it, and they did what they had to do to make life better for you. When I talk to people about reparations and they tell me, oh, that ain't gonna happen, that ain't never gonna happen, I'm like, what if the ancestors had that same mentality about slavery and just didn't fight in wars, didn't fight against oppressors, enslaved masters, didn't fight against nothing? They just said, well, we gonna always be a slave. You still be a slave, dumbass. Or what if they said, oh, we ain't never gonna get the vote. That's silly. We ain't never gonna get the vote. So what's the point of even marching and fighting for that? But now you get to vote. And what do y'all do? Y'all just give your vote away. You're so happy to vote. You're skipping to the polls, voting for Democrat when they have done nothing for your black ass. So let me keep reading. Soon after Hussle's death, conspiracy theories flooded the internet. The entertainer Nick Cannon seemed to allude to this in an Instagram post in which he pledged to continue Hussle's community work. Cannon wrote in a lengthy post, because they can't kill us all. Spiritual warfare is real and in full effect. Even Hussle's final tweet, having shown enemies as a blessing, is drawing comparisons to when Malcolm X predicted his own assassination. And then she goes on to say, but Hussle wasn't killed because he was a symbol of black liberation. He was killed because, as the old adage goes, not everyone in your circle is necessarily in your corner. That is correct. That's absolutely correct. Yeah. He was killed by another black man because the best dirt, the most devious, best laid out plans against black people are done in blackface. And what do I mean by that? It's usually going to be a black person who's really in the inside thinking like a white person and has a whole white force behind him, Obama, and doing stuff to harm the black person. But because we love each other so much, despite what people say about the self-hate, and we don't unite, that's a damn lie. Because we love each other so much, we will vote that black person in, not once, but twice to the White House. And then they will consistently undermine us and work against us and create policies to work against us. And again, that's going to be a whole other video because that's a lot for me to go through with you guys. So let's keep going. She said, these conspiracy theories were so easy for some to grasp because the truth is much more difficult to accept. No, it's not. It's not hard to accept that a black man killed Nipsey Hussle. You know why? Because it happens a lot. I live in Baltimore. I hear about the murders every single day. Like, this man shot this man. This man shot this man. Like, you almost become desensitized to it. Like, oh, here we go. Another shooting. Like, what was this for? This stuff is just so senseless. It's ignorant. Like, and for people to act like we don't care about this, of course we care about it. Like, black people like life. We would like to be alive, obviously, or we fight. If we did not care about life so much, we would be fighting a hell of a lot more and putting our lives on the line to make life better for our children of tomorrow, for the generations coming behind us. Apparently, we love us some life, don't we? So the fact that people are trying to go with this narrative that we can't grasp that black people kill black. The fuck are you talking about? Black people been killing black people since the beginning of time in this raggedy ass country. Okay? This is what they've done. They've turned us against each other. We've been killing each other before that because it was tribal. It wasn't, so we've always had that kind of mentality, like it's us, like my tribe is against your tribe. This is nothing new. What you're trying to do is put words in our mouths when we're thinking past your bosses, your slave masters, and we're saying it's your slave master's fault. The people who hired you are working with the people who helped to kill Nipsey Hussle, and they're working with Eric Holder, and that's why he has a high-priced attorney. Okay, so maybe it's harder for you to grasp that you would be broke if it wasn't for kissing Whitey's ass. Maybe that's hard for you to grasp. Or maybe it's hard for you to grasp that you're stuck in a job you can't stand. So you have to serve white people's interests to keep that check coming. Maybe that's hard for you to grasp because it's not hard for me to grasp about black on black crime. They've been promoting that narrative since I was a kid. So not hard for me to grasp, not at all. It happens. Obviously it happens, just like white on white crime happens, just like Asian on Asian crime happens, just like Arab on Arab crime happens. All those crimes happen, but we don't hear about it, do we? Until I watch IDTV. I see a lot of white people killing a lot of white people. When I see them shootings in the schools and they're just shooting up people, I see a lot of white people killing more white people. But have you ever heard the term white on white crime? And if you looked it up, I wonder the serial killers, who are usually going to be white males, killing numerous amount of people. You had to kill, I think, 3 or more people to be considered a serial killer. So you were killing a whole bunch of white on white crime there. So it happens. This is America. We're surrounded by crime. Despite all the people locked up in jail, we are the most incarcerated population in the world. And all the police every damn where. We got a ton of crime. We probably have more crime than anybody else, which maybe that's good for the pockets, not so good for our lives, huh? So, she just goes on to basically kiss white daddy's ass and earn that paycheck. Okay. So she said the most recent crime statistics in Los Angeles show that despite the fact that blacks account for just 8% of the city's population, they make up 36% of homicide victims. Compare that with the homicide rates for whites, who are 29% of Los Angeles population, but only 5% of the city's homicide victims. If I could slap her, I would. I would slap the shit out of her. Plague violence in Africa has been known for years. It's more confident to think that, as one theory went, Hussle's death was tied to the documentary. I can't even read this. Like, she disgusted me, this fucking sellout. So let me go to her stats that talked about black people homicide victims are higher than white people. You know why that is? Let's find out. Because she's talking about LA, where people have money, right? So let's go ahead and read this article here. It's called The Black Wealth Gap. Let's let my computer load. The black-white wealth gap is unchanged after half a century. Let's go ahead and scroll down. Few Americans remember Greenwood, a once prosperous African-American neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma that was known as Black Wall Street. In 1921, Dick Rowland, a black shoe shiner, was charged with attempting to rape a white Lyft girl in a downtown office building. Hold on one second. This website is popping up some of everything. Okay, so basically, let's cut it short. Black Wall Street was created because there was jealous white people who were poor looking over the hill at the prosperous black community, and they wanted to get their hands on some of that wealth, on some of that money. So let's go down. This news page has way too much stuff popping up. I'm not about to register to see nothing, so let me get out of here because it's pop-ups. It's slowing my computer down. Come on. So I also just read an article about I'm going to jump on my phone really quickly, about a slave owner. All right, so let me come out of here. I'm just introducing you guys to these pages, these articles, so you can go and read them yourself a little more in depth. If you don't even want to do that, then you're not someone that's even worth the black people's time, because you already know what it is. You just don't want to go with that narrative because you have your own self-serving interest. So to you, you're a coon. We ain't got time for you. So there was this interesting article I read. Let me see here. They had this guy recovered. They were talking about how fast their wealth, how fast they recovered their wealth after the Civil War. Because, you know, white people were mad. They were like, oh, we're going to lose money. We're losing our slaves. Blah, 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 blah. This is not what I wanted to see. After the sons of slaveholders quickly recovered their father's wealth. So let me pull that article up. The reason why I'm looking this up is to tell you guys, like, okay, so wealth typically brings a sign of security, financial security. So you're not going to be murdering and being angry and killing each other like that when you've got when you have wealth. The reason why a lot of Black people are doing what they're doing is because they don't have wealth. Our Black music is created to help us divide and conquer for the white people, conquer us. So the fact that Jamel Sellout Hill decided she was going to compare us to white people when it comes to crimes in LA is pathetic. She should know better. And actually she does know better. She just needs to get them checked. So that's why she's saying what she's saying, but she knows better. I've heard her talk on Breakfast Club in different interviews. She knows her history and she knows better, but she needs to sell out to pay the rent and make a lot of, and it's not just to pay the rent. She needs to make a lot of money. There's not enough Black people willing to sacrifice like the Nipsey Hussles and me, Black people who have left the plantation to fight for Black liberation. There's not enough Black people out there who want to do that. They are willing to sell out the Black race. There's always a coon who has a price, and they're willing to sell us out for a check, you know, and they don't care that their white people are going to come for them probably at some point again, or that, you know, like in the long run, this is going to destroy your race even further, because by 2043, the Black household wealth is going to be $0. So let me find that for you. Because, you know, like I said, I love my receipts. Household wealth, 0. Okay, 2053. I'm sorry. Median wealth of Black Americans will fall to 0 by 2053. And this is why this movement is so imperative, because that's only 30 years from now. That's not that far away. So a lot of us who are fighting what we're fighting for right now, like most Black people, I don't think can look past like too far down the road. They're looking at right now. Some of us can see further out, and we're actually thinking about generations and generations that come even further behind us, like how our actions today are going to affect them tomorrow. So by 2053, that means that all of my sons will be adults. All the Black children who are children now will be adults. And they'll now have to live the way we're living right now, because our parents didn't do too much to free us from white oppression. And their parents tried to do something with the civil rights movement, but it actually just kept getting chipped away. It's basically like the white people give you something and then they slowly take it back. And they were adding other people into our civil rights package that was meant just for ADOS, American descendants of slaves, to the point that those benefits did not matter anymore. White women actually benefit more from affirmative action than Black people do. So that's just an example right there of how you could say, well, they did fight for, we got civil rights. Yeah, we got civil rights, and then they chipped it. They basically took it back. They kept doing, and they did that to Native Americans too. But that's just what they do. They do something to make it look like they're this loving, wonderful country. So the nationwide people think, you know, internationally people think, wow, America is just getting it right. They're just so wonderful. They're living a nation of immigrants, all these different, this melting pot of people living together so peacefully and harmoniously. It's like, give me a break. Stop the fucking lies. And I'm here to destroy your lies and blast them out there. So white women, affirmative action. I actually like articles like the
2, 1. 2, 1.
Hey guys, sorry my video got cut off for whatever reason. But black people don't have that wealth transfer. So common sense will tell you that that basically means that money does not pass hands for us from generation to generation. So we just basically starting over while white people are getting wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. And because that's the case, you can't necessarily compare us to a very wealthy class of people because they're first class citizens. We're second class, if that, and we're actually quickly becoming third class citizens. Now that's something that's hard to grasp. You know, I think that that's a reality Black people don't want to admit to themselves. So as far as people saying like Jamel Hill or people saying that, you know, it's hard for you guys to face the facts that you know, it's black on black crime, it's actually not hard for me to face that fact. Like, I'm a realist. You can't be part of a conscious community that's fighting for Black liberation if you're not also trying to get rid of Black violence. I have 5 Black sons. So obviously, I'm not going to be thrilled about black on black crime. I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't exist because in reality, like, I want my sons to live and carry on my legacy. So that just doesn't work. That argument doesn't work. People who are the type of people who are willing to look at this more critically and really dig deep into why Nipsey Hussle was assassinated, shot down like a dog in front of his own store that the LAPD raided multiple times trying to find. I think they thought it was a drug front, that it was a front for drug selling, and they couldn't find anything. So now the day he died, he was actually supposed to be partnering with the LAPD to help stop gang violence in the community, whatever little bit of gang violence I guess there was that was still there. And it's just, you know, kind of ironic that he would be murdered at that time. And then the LAPD is like, oh, but we're going to continue to do that. We don't need your crap. We don't need your crimes. We don't need you to try to feel sorry for us. I'm gonna keep it 100, y'all, because y'all know how I do. You know how I do. Samantha on Black Nation News. I keep it 100. I do not trust white people at all. I don't trust Arabs. I don't trust Asians. I don't trust Native Americans. I don't trust you if you're Black and you're cooning. So the only people I trust are Black people who I know are on these front lines fighting for Black people. And I'm going to name some of them. I mean, I'm not going to say I ever give anybody 100% of my trust. But some of the people I rock with are Yvette Carnell, Antonio Moore, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Tariq Nasheed. Who else? I'm trying to think. I was with National Black United Front. I trusted those people that I was working with. And I'm not just saying that just because you don't agree with me, I'm not saying you're a coon or you are trying to sabotage all of the Black things that's for Black people, but you're clearly still supporting you're having some internal stuff going on there, and you're trying to support your agenda by any means necessary. And it's like, you got to put that aside and fight for the bigger cause, which is the Black race. Because essentially, if you're hurting the Black man, you're going to be hurting yourself. Nipsey he didn't date you. You know what I'm saying? So if a Black man hurts you, that's not Nipsey. He was with Lauren London, and he lifted her up. He had her on a beautiful white horse. He was just doing a lot of amazing things. So you got to put your negative ideology about Black men to the side. And honestly, if you keep having these bad experiences with Black men where you can't even see and support what really is going on here, as far as with Nipsey Hussle, then maybe you need to check your own environment and what kind of lifestyle you're living that you keep encountering these dusty Black Negroes who are mistreating you. Because I'm a Black woman. I have been through a lot of bad experiences with Black men, but I've also been through some pretty bad experiences with white people as well, and Arabs and Asians. I've seen the videos. Even if I haven't personally done it, I've seen those videos, and these people are crazy. So I'm sorry. Like, it's just like, that's how Black people are. Like, we can do one wrong thing to you, or, even if we do a lot of wrong things to you, you can write us off so much easier than you would do with non-Black people. You keep giving non-Black people this pass, or you keep, being so ready to down your own people, even though white people have such a long history of absolutely cannot stand your ass. They cannot stand you. And I don't know why. I think that's hard for Black people to grasp. Not black on black crime for the woke people. I think it's hard for some black people to grasp the reality that white people will go to any depths to annihilate you, to get rid of you, to wipe you off the face of this earth. Because that was hard for me to come to terms with when I first really realized what was really going on in this country, in America. But that's the realities of it. You know, you gotta face facts. So let me go here to this video really quickly. This is a great video that talked about Nipsey Hussle, some of the things he was doing, and it wasn't that long of a video, thankfully, because I have to chop through pieces because I gotta go take care of my stuff. So, wow, this is not gonna play, I don't think. I'm struggling here, guys. 1 second.
Pretty much. Freaking FDA. I mean, where you at? What are you doing?
Okay, so let's see. I wanted to show you guys this story right here.
Going on. Why don't you at least acknowledge what
it's a lot. Going on? It's a lot to take in. But you guys see the video. The name of it is Nipsey Hussle Conspiracy Assassinated for Dr. SEBI documentary. So government kills Black leaders in LA.
What the heck are you celebrating? Oops. And John Huggins? And 2 more Black Panthers? Yeah, a government created holiday just to divide people. So you got to be aware of what the heck you celebrating. But let's bring it back to Bunchy Carter. Let's bring it back to John Huggins. The FBI pointed with pride to the violence in the death of Black Panthers who were just standing up for their own people, standing up against police corruption, police brutality. That's the behavior of this government.
Huey and Eldridge Cleveland, those guys in Oakland, the world needs to know about Bunchy Carter.
It's a whole nother conversation about who Bunchy was.
He proclaimed himself Bunchy Carter, the renegade of Slauson.
There's no really books about him. You don't see him on T-shirts.
And here he was, some so-called nigga out to Slauson.
You know, he's like the unsung true hero of Los Angeles, California, the whole community.
Bunchy went to Oakland and met up with Huey and Bobby and David Hilliard.
Sorry, guys, I'm trying to make it a little bit bigger for you.
And met up with Huey and Bobby and David Hilliard, and they met Bunchy. They said, oh man, we got to have an LA chapter.
Initially, when Bunchy started it, most of the people involved, a lot of the people involved were Slauson. Bunchy, he had personality, charisma. And I'm glad I had the pleasure to meet the people who knew him. The man next to the man, you know what I mean?
Bunchy was, man.
They said, no question, he was the smartest one, the bravest one.
This was the name of Nipsey's store before it became the Marathon clothing store. I think it was called Slauson Clothing. So just noticing that fact.
The baddest one. His mannerisms was street, but his mind had been developed. He became political. We called him the mayor of the ghetto. He had a natural ability. He was a natural leader. A lot of the members.
Didn't it sound like Nipsey? His mind was street, but he had developed into this like political entrepreneur force that white people were like, oh, hell no, we cannot let him rise.
The gangs, he was able to bring them in, re-educate them, redirect them. We would have dances every Friday night. We might fill a place up, maybe a couple of hundred people in there, partying, sweating, dancing. And right in the middle of it, we'd cut the music off. Bunchy'd jump up on the table, start talking for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. He'd run down some history, some facts, and, then, people be stunned. They'd be like, wow. And then throw the music on and he'd get to doing the Philly dog and the party be back on. And, then we'd come back that Monday, man, 10, 15 people lining up to join the Black Panther Party. That's the type of person he was.
he exemplified, the leadership that we all needed. He had laid it down, and that's what we've been trying to follow for the years, to set an example so we wouldn't end up like the Bloods and Crips were. And it's not no gang or criminal mentality that we were trying to exemplify. This is not for you or your set. It was for your people.
It was a huge and big and rich time in history. We weren't, as the media and history would have us believe, a gang of hoodlums. I lived there. That was my life. I wasn't just some armed guerrilla intruded in on the community. That was my home.
That's J. Edgar Hoover.
Some very sad news for all of you, and I think sad news for all of our fellow citizens. Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
I don't really know who the leaders are. They're all dead. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. It's like you can't be a leader for the black community if you're alive. I mean, you probably wasn't doing your job. In 65.
Okay, so that's something you guys need to remember. So anybody, to me, that I realized some years ago, that if you're still alive and you were a civil rights leader, you probably weren't much of a really working for Black people, because you'd be dead. So the fact that Nipsey Hussle's gone, that just further proves to me that he was a leader for the Black community. And there's tons of articles that I'll come out with in future videos to continue to support that truth and those facts.
Most of your gangs segued into a political party. Like I mentioned, the Lawsons went into the Black Panther Party. But then the other gangs, they kind of identified more with a culture nationalist group called the US organization.
We have gotten our manhood back by the acts of violence. When the brother throws a brick or snipes from a building,
these guys had, different philosophies. They didn't really, get along with each other's philosophy. They didn't believe in with each other's what they were doing. Planters are more about confrontation, confronting the man. The US organization, from my understanding, was a little more abstract about, their rage.
Well, I'm a little more aggressive. I can fight a little bit. I'm a little stronger, so I'll go with punching them. And the guys who couldn't fight so well, the guys who wanted to be more jazzy, they went with Karenga.
Kinds of things that Maulana Karenga was saying in that first speech I heard clicked with me in terms of Black people seizing their own destiny and to express that through political power, to seize political power through organizing and a self-affirmation of who Black people were. Given that both organizations were had been recruiting strongly from gang structures, you can see the beginnings of some confrontations.
Karenga and all those people, the US organization, they were armchair revolutionaries.
Armchair revolutionaries.
As far as, Bunchy and them were concerned.
Bunchy was a Slauson. And a lot of it, again, is being acted out, or was being acted out at that point through a politicized environment.
So they kind of antagonized each other a little bit. They both were trying to jockey in for position in Los Angeles at that vital time.
At what point did...
And that's the problem with the Black races. We cannot be competing against each other when there's a bigger picture and a bigger war going on. We have to stay united at all costs. Like, I know it can be uncomfortable. I know you can be like, but I don't like that Negro over there, or I don't agree with this person over here. But that's another message I want to convey, that this is the philosophy I follow, is that you cannot, I guess, like they say, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, if you don't like a person, like I've seen people hate on Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm trying to think who else. Someone said Tariq Nasheed was full of crap just this morning on Facebook. I had to delete his comment because it was I don't like people disrespecting people that I believe in, because I actually research these people and follow their work, and people can evolve. But this is, again, where that higher level of consciousness comes in, where you have to be able to discern between like who's really for the people and who's not, and there's just certain things, like elements, that you have to start to pay attention to that's going to make you feel like maybe this person's not for us. So that's just something you're going to have to like learn how to work it within your inner self to figure out who you're going to trust, who you're going to follow behind, and they're going to be people that you probably going to follow, and then they may evolve into a coon, and then you got to stop supporting them. That happens. It is what it is. That's the risk you have to take. And just like with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. and Nipsey Hussle, obviously, they were surrounded by agents and coons and people who would do the dirty work for white people for whatever reason. Maybe they hated themselves. I don't know. But, these people were near these amazing figures, Black figures and leaders who these people, obviously these leaders are, probably were friends with them at some point in time or trusted them to allow them to be in their group. And you can't not all, skin folk is kinfolk. You can't trust everybody just because they have black skin like you. So, we do have to, if deep down that somebody is trying to progress the Black race and liberate the Black race, and they're not an agent working with somebody for some other extra agenda, like if you overall know these people are trying to do something good for Black people as a whole, as a collective, then you need to let go of all that extra stuff. Like Nipsey was a Crip. Somebody told me he murdered people. I don't have any proof of that. Like where are those receipts? But I can overlook certain things because the bigger picture is that Nipsey was doing stuff that could affect people for generations to come. So I hate to be mean, but like the little minions that's on social media that's saying shit about him, like, what are you doing? Who are you? Like I don't care what you're saying because you aren't really out there doing much of anything. You're definitely not putting your life on the line on a daily basis and dealing with the LAPD and coming, just face to face with white supremacy on a regular basis and still defying them to continue to do the work that needs to be done for the people. So if you're not that kind of polarizing figure, your comments are probably going to be getting deleted. You're probably going to be getting blocked because I just don't have that kind of time. Black people, our Black race, we don't have that luxury to be fighting against each other over like petty things. I will try to educate Black people, but some people I just feel like it's a lost cause, or I just feel like they're just such a waste of time to even try to attempt to deal with for even 2 minutes. So I'm just not going to waste my time. I'm sorry. I do believe there are like tons of Black people out there that do need this information, that will do something productive with it and do great things for Black people. And we need to all take on that task as all of the leaders before us did. All the people who are dead, you can't let them die in vain. You can't let their death just be like, oh, it's another Black on Black crime issue. You got to keep pushing. You have to push until you push white supremacy off the damn cliff. There is no mercy in this fight. We're at war. And some people like to joke and say, well, we're not really at war because Black people aren't even fighting back. And sad to say, that's kind of true. There are Black people fighting back, but it's not enough of us. And the reality is that we need each other. Black people need each other. Like, I need you, you need me. I need the Black man. I need the Black woman to support me. I need the Black child to be behind me and learning what I teach them. We need each other. We need the African support. The Africans need our support. We need Haitians. We need Jamaicans. We need every Black person to come together because that's what white people do. Like when they went against battle with Haiti, they had every white country come in and try to fight against Haiti as Haiti tried to liberate themselves. That's ridiculous. Like, who are you to fucking enslave somebody and then be trying to come in with everything you have to try to defeat these people because you don't want them to be free? But that's what white people do. And the reality, like I always tell people, is it's a race thing. I used to run track, so I look at it like sports, but it's a race thing. And each race is vying for they're trying to get to the finish line. Whether it's Black, there's only 5 races: Black, white, Arab, Asian, and Native American. So that's the 5 races. Hispanic is not a race. It's like a nationality or, it's like an ethnicity. Saying you're Puerto Rican, Dominican, all that, that's not a race. That's like me saying I'm American as a race. Like, that's not your race. You're Black or you're white or you're Native American. And the reason why I tell people, like, because people are like, oh, well, Black is a color. Okay, whatever. But the thing is, white supremacy is ruling this country. And if we want to fight this war and win, we have to play the game. We have to get in there and learn how to maneuver within the white supremacist system so that we can annihilate them. Get rid of them before they get rid of us. And you can't get rid of white supremacy if you're sitting here wasting time talking about like, well, I'm a Moor, or I'm a Hebrew Israelite, or I'm this, I'm that. Because I know who I am. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I know I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I know my family's from Kenya. I've done the research. I know these things, but that's not going to be the stuff that I'm really going to use to separate or divide myself from other Black people. So I don't care about any of that extra crap. At the end of the day, when the enemy sees you, they see Black. At the end of the day, when you see them, you see white and Native American or whatever race they are. And that's how we're fighting this war. And that's how they're fighting this war. Not us. We're defending ourselves. They're fighting this war as though they're looking at us like, you're this, you're that. And they're taking note of that race accordingly. Like, you're Black. We don't care where you came from. We don't care what your religion is. We don't care, whatever. We're here to annihilate you. We're here to commit complete genocide and wipe you off the face of this earth. So if you want to live, you got to do something about it. And you can't sit here playing games, like talking about like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. We don't got time. We don't have time for that. I'm sorry. We don't. And you got to follow, like, again, like with the consciousness, like you got to follow what feels right. You got to, like, Black people have a higher level of spirituality. We have melanin. We have the metaphysical. Like, we have these abilities that we should be able to feel in the universe, things that other races do not have that ability. They have not been given that talent by God. So you should be able to know when a movement needs your support. Like, I am a member of NBuff still. I still love NBuff and try to support that as much as I can, whether it's with money or whatever I can do, forwarding their messages they put on social media. I try to do what I can. But the ADOS movement also makes sense. And to me, honestly, like with the ADOS movement, the American Descendant of Slave movement, to me, it's not really about like joining the movement. Like, if you're an American Descendant of Slaves, you're already ADOS. Period. Like, this is another thing that's just dumb. It's dumb to me. Like, I can't deal with the stupidity. I cannot deal with it. That's why I'm making the video now, because I cannot fucking deal with it. Like, you're already, if you're an American Descendant of Slaves, you had a family member who was enslaved, or family members who were enslaved in America, and you descend from that. Those are your ancestors. Then there's nothing to argue about. The things that we're fighting for, you're going to benefit from that. So why are you talking about in Cobra was here first and this, that, and the other? No one knows who you are. Even if you were here first, the work wasn't getting done with you. So instead of you trying to like how they're talking about right now with the Black Panthers fighting against Karenga, looking silly, instead of doing all that, just unite, just connect and go for that, go get that bag. Like, what are y'all doing? This shit is just so dumb to me. Like, it's so fucking dumb. I can't deal with like, it's so much ignorance. I can't deal with it. Like, I had to make a video because I'm like, I can't even type enough to convey how ignorant the people are that I'm talking to right now. And honestly, I don't care if you're offended. You need to step your fucking game up. Like, how long are we going to be fucking poor and hungry and dying in these streets? Like, how long? How long is that going to be okay? Y'all so fucking petty. Like, y'all sitting there like, oh, this group was here first and this group. What do you find? Are you crying? Are you trying to get like some airtime on NBC or some shit? Create your own damn media. There's the internet. Like, you can create your own website and post videos. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you have that power. God gave you that power. Take advantage of it. Like, stop sitting here waiting for white people to give you shit. Do better. You're the original people and y'all just act like fucking minions half the time. You act like idiots. There's so many Black people, not all Black people, there's so many Black people just acting like complete fucking idiots right now. Like in Africa, I just saw in South Africa, there was some Black politician who's running through this election season there. And he's sitting here I don't know what his purpose was except to conquer and divide. He must be, I feel like he's an agent. He must be working with white folks, because why would you sit here when you know that Black people are right now in South Africa trying to get their land back from the white people? Why would you sit here and divide black people at all. So he basically is saying stuff to incite this violence against the foreign nationals, which I think is ignorant in itself. Like, I don't really understand how you can be considered foreign when you're all African, but whatever, like that's a whole nother topic to talk about. But why would you sit here and divide any kind of black people when you know they're fighting against white people to get their land back? This is not the time to be divided. And I told people, like, don't vote for his ass. Like, he obviously does not have your best interest at heart, because if he did, he wouldn't be working, like moving in the way that he's moving. He wouldn't be doing what he's doing. This is where you got to think deeper. You got to think deeper. You got to be able to pick up on the shit faster. Like when I used to meditate in this place in DC, this elderly woman told me that it was a black woman. She said, as things progress, the universe is going to start to move faster. So you don't have time to be talking about, but I'm a Moor, but I'm this, or let's fight each other because we're confused. Like, you need to fucking stick together, period. Stick together. Stay on code. If you know that there's a person talking who loves black people, get your ass behind that person or shut the fuck up. Like, if you don't agree with them, just shut the fuck up. That's stay on code. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, if you don't agree with something a black person says, but you know that they care about black people and they have given everything they have to black people on a daily, regular basis, get behind that person and elevate them, push them to the highest limits. Because that's what we're doing with Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. We need to cover them and protect them. And we need to be, there's a conference coming up in October. We need to stick with it, like go to that conference. We need to learn how to do what they're doing so that if something happened to them, we need to be able to pick up the work they did and continue. That's the reality, guys. Like, if you're going to be a black leader, that's the reality. You're probably not going to live very long. You're probably going to be killed. That's something you must, like, accept. That's hard for people to grasp. I live with that. I'm okay with that. That's life. Like, for one, we're all going to die anyway. I'm not about to die a coon. I'm not about to die because I played it. Like, I'm not about to be like, well, I played it safe, so I got to live a nice, long, little house Negro life. Nah. I got 5 children depending on me. I got a whole generation of kids depending on me to get it right. So, even if you don't have children, you might have nieces. You might have younger siblings. You got people depending on you. This is your moment. What are you going to do with it?
Did us declare Panthers, or did they ever declare Panthers as like enemies?
I don't ever remember there being that kind of formal war council where that was actually declared. As things escalated and as the body count escalated, it was clear that there was a serious competition going on. As everybody now knows, that was exacerbated by the intervention of the state, i.e. COINTELPRO.
Vice President Agnew has called the Panthers a completely irresponsible, anarchistic group of criminals.
Hoover decided that for some reason the Panthers were the most dangerous organization in the United States, even more dangerous than the Communist Party or the Mafia. And so he ordered them essentially destroyed.
Directives issued by FBI headquarters called for, quote,
The Black Panthers are more dangerous than the Mafia? Seriously? Come on. Anyways, let me get to the end of this because there was something I want you guys to see. But I did just want to talk to you guys about a little bit more about what's going on with Nipsey and just talk about all the crap that I'm seeing on social media that I think is just crap. And you guys will definitely be hearing more of me. People have been telling me for a while I need to create a channel. I have created one now. It's called Black Nation News. Sometimes you'll see me. Sometimes I'll just do my videos with just the screen or whatever so you can see what I'm talking about. to me, it's always really about getting that message out more so than anything else. And I'm going to tell you now, I am an introvert. I'm not big on, what do you call it, like attention and just being out there like that, which is why it's taking me so long to finally create videos consistently and put my message out there. But I think it's time, and I think it's necessary, and that's why I'm doing it. It kind of reminds me of Malcolm X when they were saying that if he wasn't feeling like it was necessary, he probably would not have been an activist. He probably would have just been a normal father and husband. But some people are called to do these things by God. And so it's like, even if it's uncomfortable, we're going to do it because it needs to be done. And we just don't see either enough people doing it or the right people doing it. We don't see people doing it. We see people cooning. I see a lot of people cooning more than anything else. And that's got to stop. That's not going to be our new culture. We're not going to fucking coon to get paid and get money. We're going to build ourselves. And I definitely believe in Black people that we can do this. I know we can do this. We're the original people. We have built so much in the past, like, pyramids, and not even that. Like, we don't even go back to the pyramids. We have built, like, the pyramids were big. And to this day, white people don't know how they built them. They're still trying to figure that out. But we have built so many successful Black communities over and over and over, and they've been destroyed, and we rebuild, and they destroy them and we rebuild. So the thing that we're going to have to figure out is, how do we rebuild and protect it so it can't be destroyed? How do we uplift Black leaders and protect them so they can't be killed off before they can really do any kind of good? Like, I just wish Nipsey just kept a bodyguard with him all the time. And honestly, I just don't think he really realized how important his work was. I don't think any of us realized it until he was gone. And then it's like, that's when I found out about him. I'm like, when I started reading about him, I just knew from almost the onset of the whole assassinate, like the whole story, I knew right away it was wrong. It was off. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. It didn't sound right. It didn't make sense. And that's the mentality of 2019. I'm sorry. That's the mentality of 2019, is to make it make sense. So I'm out of here. Until I see you guys again, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace, love, and light. Bye. Hey guys, sorry, my video got cut off for whatever reason.